I know y'all heard of Ted Bundy, Wayne Gracie, Charles Manson, Jeffrey Donahue, but these right here are some of the most ruthless, savage, and vicious kids to ever walk the land of America.
We actually don't personally know this one per se, but it happened in our city and it was a huge case. So Joshua Phillips was born in 1984, right? But at the incident in 1998, November 3rd, he was 14 years old when 8-year-old Maddie Clifton, which happened to be his next door neighbor
And a friend.
came over to want to play baseball. They went into the backyard and I guess we're throwing the ball around. Somehow the ball hit her in the eye, cut it open. She starts bleeding and screaming and crying.
So Joshua Phillips, who was terrified of his dad at the time, he said his dad was very abusive and kicking ass. This is Joshua Phillips' story. He said he was terrified of his dad and what he was going to do when he found out the baseball hit the little girl in the eye. She was only 8 years old. So he said he drug her inside by the pants, and this is how the pants came off of her, brought inside to the house, took a baseball bat, and struck her several times in the head to get her to be quiet. Once the body went limp, like he thought she was unalive, he put the body under the base of his bed in his bedroom. Then when his dad finally got home, he locked his room, went out there to deal with his dad, interact with him, normal stuff. Then went back to his room. When he went back to his room, go ahead.
She was moaning. She never was unalive. She was moaning. She was in pain. And he went back and grabbed a knife, went back in the room, flipped the mattress back, cut her throat, and stabbed her several times.
So then the next day, can't nobody find little Maddie Clifton. So all the neighbors went out, including Joshua Phillips himself. They all went out looking for the body.
This was a huge
case. Went out looking for the body, couldn't find the body. Body nowhere to be found. During this time, the body's under his bed. He sprayed air freshener trying to keep the smell down. I want to say like 7 days later, on November 10th, Melissa, his mom, walked into his room and seen a wet spot at the base of his bed. And she's like, what was that? So when she examined, that's when she seen the body of the little girl under the bed. So immediately she ran, told the police. Police came and Joshua Phillips immediately confessed to what he did and told the story that he told. The prosecutors were trying to say it was actually a different story, that it was sexually motivated, but no evidence of sexual assault was ever found.
They never found a baseball bat or a baseball or none of that either though. So they were saying the story didn't add up, but this was his story of what happened. He's actually currently incarcerated, I want to believe, in Cross City, CI in Florida. Several times he's been trying to get appeals to come back, and
he did initially catch life without parole, but he got resentenced to just life, and they're working on another appeal right now to get him resentenced again to get even lesser time.
I don't know if we should. I don't know if we shouldn't.
Only defense I got for him, he was a kid, he was 14.
That's all you can say.
All the defense I have for him. I got no defense for him, but if I do have a defense for him, if I did have one.
All you can say it was a sad incident because he was a child, but you did the most extreme violent thing you can do to another person. And
right on into the next one, you got Derek and Alex King, two brothers. Derek 13, Alex was 12, who unalived their father so they can have a pedophilic relationship with their father's best friend. His name was Rick Chavez?
Rick Chavez, which is now a convicted sexual predator.
Yeah.
So back in November 26, 2001, the boys ended up waiting till the father went to sleep, snuck in there with an aluminum bat, and hit him, they said, about 10 times, right? They decided to light the whole house on fire to get rid of the evidence, but come on, man, you bashed this man's head in. So the medical examiner said this was a cover-up, something else happened. They found the kids over at, I guess, Rick Chavez's
They found
house.
them at Rick Chavez's house, who washed their clothes, cleaned up the blood, all other stuff, and told them to come on in and you can finally be with me now.
And they actually had like several different stories. The first story was that they were really scared for their life because they ran away and they were scared to get in trouble, and then they said that couldn't be right, so they kept pressing them for more information. Then they said that I guess they were having sexual intercourse with Rick Chavez,
father's best friend,
pedophile ass. Supposedly he coerced the kids to do this so they could move in with him. Then they said that doesn't even sound right. They pressed them even harder. Supposedly Rick Chavez did this to his best friend so he could have this relationship with these kids, so that if it does come down to it, he knew the kids weren't going to catch that much time, so they could just take the rap if they did get caught for it. If they didn't, he gets to live with his little whatever kind of fantasies he's having.
So the only parts of this case that we know is true. Terry King, who was 40 years old, was beaten
with a bat.
With a bat. He was hit over 10 times with a bat. His house was set on fire to cover up the crime. And the two little boys was found at Rick Chavez's house,
which later ended up being convicted of
child molestation and also with the killing of Terry King. And the oldest one, Derek, he caught, 8 years?
8 years. He went to a real prison though.
Yeah. The younger one, Alex, who was 12,
caught 7 years in a juvenile detention.
And Derek Chavez caught a total of 30 years for everything that he did.
We gotta do better with these kids. We gotta do better. So for this third one, we got 13-year-old Eric Smith, which did some terrible things to a 4-year-old named Derek Robbie back in 1993, on August 2nd, right?
So on August 2nd, as 4-year-old Derek Robbie was walking to summer camp, 13-year-old Eric Smith got him and led him into some woods in Steuben County, and for reasons unknown, beat the man with a stick, strangled him with a stick, and sodomized the little boy with a stick.
Like an actual tree limb he found in the woods.
Beat him with it, strangled him with it, and sodomized the 4-year-old boy with it before taking 2 large rocks and dropped it on the little guy's head. And after he did all that, he arranged the body in a weird position and took off one of the kid's shoes and poured Kool-Aid all over him from his lunchbox, which don't know why.
They ended up doing a diagnosis on him because what he did was outrageous, right? And he was diagnosed with intermittent explosive disorder, which is just like acting out sporadically and violently. He ended up catching 9 years to life, and as of today, they denied parole 10 different times.
You have a crazy disorder. I don't think they're ever gonna let him out with this disorder unless it could be cured or helped, because what you did makes no sense at all.
And like, I feel like a 13-year-old has enough sense to not do this to a 4-year-old. So I don't know how this type of behavior can be taught to someone unless the parents traumatized this jit to do this. You know what I'm saying? But this is a sick story.
And we both are firm, big-time advocates for kids getting second chances, because we know that at certain ages, you really can't connect consequences to your actions.
Yeah, your brain's not fully developed.
It's just not fully developed, but with cases like these,
will the brains ever be fully developed, diagnosed with specific kinds of, I don't know what to call this, man. This is like horrendous.
I'm really speechless. This man sodomized a 4-year-old boy with a tree branch.
Where would he even learn this from, man?
What would make you even think to do something to that magnitude to a 4-year-old little boy?
Yeah, so these are 3 menaces, child menaces, that probably aren't gonna get to be released ever.
2 got out. Them 2
Oh,
got
yeah,
out.
yeah,
Them
yeah.
2 actually them got 8 and 7 years.
Yeah.
Mm.
But well, let's see the traumatic effects that's gonna have on their mind, though. Lord,